Just confirm me, am I audible to you? Good morning, everyone. Just confirm me, am I audible and the PPT is visible? Everything is perfect from my side. Just tell me. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Okay, fine. Good. Okay, in yesterday's class, we have completed up to phylum Annelida. Okay, in today's class, we are going to discuss about Arthropoda. Okay, and what are all the things we have to, it is must to see from Arthropoda is general characteristics and classification, obviously. Okay, and after finishing this general characteristics and classification, we have to discuss about the mouth parts of insects. Okay, and what are all the useful insects and what are all the harmful insects, and what are all the metamorphosis, what are all the stages undergoing by the insects in their life cycle, and what about this apiculture and sericulture and crustacean larva. Crustacean larva is very important when it comes to arthropoda as well as the mouth parts of insects. Okay, so without any delay, we'll start our session today. First, general characteristics and classification, and I am going to ask you many questions, so be ready to answer those questions. Don't get late, okay? The arthropoda is bilaterally symmetrical, okay? As from the worms, platyhelminthes, the organism sustains to develop in their own form, okay? In that line, arthropoda is bilaterally symmetrical, and it is triploblastic in nature. What is triploblastic? We know that there will be a 3 germinal layers will be there: ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm, and metamerically segmented animals. From which phylum this concept of metameric segmentation arise? Just tell me, from which phylum metameric segmentation will be evolved? Which phylum? From which phylum the concept of metameric segmentation arises? Yes, Annelida. Okay, so that is not the only characteristics which is seen only in the phylum Annelida. You should have the difference between all the statements. Metamerically segmented. This perfect example for this segmentation is phylum Annelida. But this is not seen only in Annelida, but also in the Arthropoda as well as in the Chordata. Okay, and the body is divided into head, thorax, abdomen. Okay, see here the head and thorax will be often fused so that it will be called as the cephalothorax. The word cephalo means it refers to head. Okay, the word cephalo means it refers to the head. Okay, so when it comes to the animals which is placed under this arthropoda, the head and thorax will be fused together, and the body is divided into 3 parts, and that is head, thorax, and the abdomen. Here, and the body is covered with thick chitinous cuticle. See, it will be covered with thick chitinous cuticle in forming an exoskeleton. Okay, so and you have to remember what is the name arthropoda will be suggesting to us. The word arthropoda means arthro means jointed, poda means appendages, which has a jointed appendages. You should know that. Straight away the question can be thrown you in the examination. The word jointed appendages refers to which of the following phylum? Okay, so the answer is Arthropoda. Like in the same way, Annelida means segmented worm. Nemathelminthus or Aschelminthus means round worms. Platyhelminthus means flat worms. Okay, in case of Coelenterata means, what is it? Coelenterata means it shows polymorphism and it has a nematocyst as this defense organelle. And in case of Nidarians means the comb jellies or comb plates, these kinds of words are denoted to Nidarians. Okay, fine. And as well as for porifera, canal system. Obviously, pores. The word pores refers to the phylum Poriferans. Porifera. Okay, sponges. Here, and the exact meaning of all these words are very, very important. Okay, coming back to the general characteristics. See, body segments usually bear paired and jointed appendages. The jointed appendages is nothing but, see, all the animals which is placed under the phylum Arthropoda have jointed appendages. Clearly clear? And coelom largely a blood-filled hemocoel. And what is the name of the fluid which is filled inside the coelom in the phylum Annelids? What is the name of the fluid or what is the name of the tissue which is filled inside the coelom or the body cavity in case of phylum Annelida? And what is it? What is the name of the tissue or the name of the fluid which is filled inside the body cavity in case of phylum Annelida? Means and that is nothing but botryoidal tissue. Botryoidal tissue. Okay, and that tissue has an unique function which performs the process of excretion, which excretes those waste which is present inside the body cavity to external environment. Clear? This botryoidal tissue, it is not only a fluid filled within the body cavity, but it also does the function of, what is its function? It also has the function of excretion. Clear? Oh, now muscles are mostly striated. Okay, the muscles are mostly striated means there is a line that is called, there is a striations inside the muscles. Okay, that is called as the striated muscles, and usually capable of rapid contraction. Digestive tract is complete. It has a mouth as well as the anus, and it lies opposite ends of the body, which means what? Consider this as an organism, and here lies the head, and here develops the anus, and it is present in the anterior end, and it is present in the posterior end. That is why this mouth and anus lies at the opposite ends of the body. Now the circulatory system is open circulatory system. Open circulatory system with dorsal heart and arteries and blood sinuses. There is no presence of blood vessels. Here now the respiration will be happen. See, the most unique point which is present only in the arthropoda is book lungs. The term book lungs will be present only in the phylum and arthropoda. This can be your question. Just take down. Okay, respiration through by these general bodies of face, by the gills in aquatic forms, by tracheae, or either by the book lungs. Okay, so in all these forms, the respiration can be happen. Now the nervous system has dorsal nerve ring. Okay, it has a well-developed nervous system too. Excretory system, Malpighian tubules. This can also be asked in the question in case of insects. What is the excretory organ which is present in the insect? Means you have to know that the excretory organs which is present in the insect is nothing but Malpighian tubules. Okay, in case of green glands, and another most important thing, in case it is a green glands, it is present in the crabs and the prawn. Okay, in case of crustaceans, it is crustaceans of crabs and prawns, it is green glands, and in case of insects, it is about Malpighian tubules. Don't forget this. And cilia are absent from all parts of the body. There is no structure called the cilia. Okay, sexes are generally separate, and then it is called as monoecious. Just tell me, it has a separate sexes, whether it is monoecious or dioecious, whether it is unisexual or bisexual, whether it is a hermaphrodite animal or not a hermaphrodite animal. Just tell me any of the thing. Very good. Sexes are generally separate means it is dioecious in nature, and dioecious means it is unisexual. It is not a hermaphrodite animal. It is not a hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means both male and female present in the same individual. Clear? See, hermaphrodite again and again you are keeping confusing with the same point. Okay, don't do that. See, monoecious or hermaphrodite or bisexual or the sexes are not separate. All the four things are the same point. What is it? Just take down monoecious or hermaphrodite or sexes are not separate, bisexual, which means what? Both male and female present in the same individual. Okay, in case of dioecious, dioecious means only one sex is present in each individual. Either it is a male or female. So it is called as unisexual. Sexes are separate. Okay, it is not a hermaphrodite. Clear? This is the difference between dioecious and monoecious. Clear? See, fertilization is internal. Internal fertilization means as it is a well-developed organism, the fertilization will be happen only within the body of the female. Which means fusion of male and female gamete is happening within the embryo of the female. and it is oviparous, ovoviviparous or viviparous. Anybody know what is oviparous, what is viviparous, what is ovoviviparous? See, in case of oviparous, the animals which is going to lay eggs, and from the egg, it is going to develop the adult one. Okay, egg lay, very good. Egg laying animals are said to be as the oviparous. In case of viviparous, the embryo, the child or the fetus will be developed within the embryo. Okay, within the uterus, the embryo will develop within the uterus of the female. Then it is said to be as the viviparous. Ovoviviparous means the egg will be developed inside the embryo of the female. Okay, both will be happen. Egg laying as well as the parental care is also there. Okay, so this is what a difference. So see, ovoviviparous and oviparous both will be seen in phylum Arthropoda. Okay, see, parental care will be start from the phylum Arthropoda. You should have to note this. Okay, parental care is well marked in many arthropods, not all arthropods. Okay, it is well marked in many arthropods. Okay, that's all about the general characteristics. See, there are many unique points seen only in the characteristics of the phylum Arthropoda. Okay, so you have to make a note of it. Now, from the class, crustaceans. Okay, crusta means shell. Okay, the class 1, we are going to see about the crustacea. Okay, and the crustacea means a shell. These animals which possess cells in its body, which possess shells in its body. Crustacea are mainly aquatic. Okay, mainly marine. Few are freshwater. Mostly they are marine, but few are, we can see them in also in the freshwater, and few live in the moist places on land. So in every it has a terrestrial, marine, freshwater. Okay, all we have, in every ecosystem we have a crustaceans. And head again joined with the thorax to form cephalothorax. Exoskeleton is chitinous, hard and calcareous. See, it is about the skeleton system. The skeletal system which protects the animals by presenting outside the surface of the body. Okay, so it is said to be as an exoskeleton, chitinous, hard and calcareous. The head is 5 segmented with 2 pairs of antenna, 2 pairs of maxillae, 1 pairs of mandibles. This will be changing for each class which is placed under the phylum Arthropoda. So you have to make a note of it. Head will be 5 segmented. There are 5 segments which is present in the head. That is why we have saying metameric segmentation will also seen in the phylum Arthropoda. And 2 pairs of antenna, 2 pairs of maxillae, and 1 pairs of mandibles. Which means what? These maxillae and mandibles are going to help the animals to chew food. Okay, they are going to help their animals in the process of digestion. And the respiration takes place through the general body surface or the gills. When it comes to the crustacean under the phylum Arthropoda, they are going to respire through the general body surface. Clear? And excretion, it is done by here is antennal glands. So these antennal glands also have the capacity to perform the function of excretion. You should know that. But with respect to the crustaceans, not every class under the phylum Arthropoda. Here the sexes are separate. The male will be the different organism, the different individual, and the female will be different individual. Okay, sexes are separate means what? Dioecious in nature or unisexual or united and development with the nauplius stage. Nauplius stage means what? Nauplius is the larva. It is the larval stage. So crustacean definitely undergo this larval stage, that is Nauplius larva. This is the simplest larval stage. I'm going to explain you detailedly about the larval stages when it comes to the crustaceans. Okay, crustacean larva, it is in your syllabus again. Now, the class 2, Pauropoda. The word pauros means after hatching. Yeah, from the egg, it is going to undergo a larval stages. And from the egg, it is going to give rise to a larval stage. And from the larva, it is adult. So the development is indirect here. Okay. Now, Pauros means small, paus means foot. Okay, the animals which have a small foot, which is placed under this particular class, Pauropoda. Okay, the size is very, very short, 2 mm long. Okay, now the eyes here are absent. Okay, eyes here are absent, and the body is divisible into head. as well as the thoracic segment, that is trunk segments, head and the thoracic. 11 to 12 segments which has been seen in the trunk region. Okay, and example Pauropus. Now, class 3, Diplopoda. Diplos means double. Okay, what is Diplos means double. Paus means foot. And body here is elongated, cylindrical, divisible into 5 head segments and 4 thoracic segments. See, 5 head segments is present in both crustaceans as well as here Diplopoda. And 4 thoracic segments is seen. And maxilla and the mandibles are in one pair. Eyes are simple here and genital openings in the third abdominal segment. In the third abdominal segment or the third segment in the abdomen which possess the genital openings. Clear? And now class 4 Chilopoda. The chilos means it is lip. Paus means again foot. Chilopus or Chilopoda. Body is dorso-ventrally flattened. The another phylum which possesses the same characteristics. And what is the name of the phylum? Dorso-ventrally flattened. Dorso-ventrally flattened. The same characteristics which we seen in the another phylum. What is the name of the phylum? Very good. It is not Platyhelminthes, it is Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. The common name is said to be as the flatmoss. Very good. Anyhow, your answer the question. Okay. Dorso-ventrally flattened, divisible into head and the trunk. Okay. And head with one pair of antennae and one pair of mandibles, 2 pairs of maxillae. First pairs of legs are modified into the poison claws. Okay. Now, symphyla. Syn means together, phylon means stripe. The body is slender, made of head, 15 to 22 trunk segments. This have without eyes. There is no eyes present in the animals, which is placed under the class Symphyla. And genital pores located ventrally on the 4th trunk segment. Okay, 4th trunk segment, and see the examples. Hansinella and Scutigerilla. Okay, now the class 6 Arachnida. Arachnida generally the spider forms all the different varieties and species of spiders which is placed under this particular class Arachnida, and it can be preferred to live in the terrestrial or the aquatic. It has a simple eye, but not it has a simple eye and non-compound eye. Okay, now cephalothorax with Chilichera and pedipalps and 4 pairs of walking lips. These are all the things present in the arachnidan animals. And abdomens, we can see the abdomen without any appendages. Appendages means what? There is no foot or there is no limb-like structure seen in the abdomen. And respiration will be done by the tracheae, book lungs, or both. This will be your important characteristic features. Okay, and here this is where we can find malphizian tubules as their excretory organs. And here the arachnidae is dioecious. Okay, again the sexes are separate. Oviparous, egg-laying animals, courtship before mating. Now, another most important class is Insecta. Okay, this is the largest group of the phylum. This is the largest group. See, there are up to 7 classes we can see in the phylum Arthropoda. Okay, that phylum, just take down the important which I'm going to say now. Okay, see, the largest class is placed under the phylum is phylum Arthropoda. Okay, this is the largest class which is placed under the phylum Arthropoda is class Insecta. Okay, so now my question is, which phylum, right from the Porifera, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, Nemathelminthes, up to the phylum Echinodermata, which phylum is the largest phylum? Which phylum is said to be as the largest phylum when it comes to the animal kingdom? Very good. Arthropoda. The phylum Arthropoda secure largest phylum in the when it comes to the animal kingdom. See, what makes the phylum Arthropoda is very much larger means because of the class Insecta. Okay, in case of species, insects secures the first place. There are different variety of insects can be seen around the world or all around the world. Okay, so don't forget this is an important factual information. And body is divided into head, thorax, and the abdomen. And here the compound eyes will be present here. When it comes to the area, here compound eye. See, that is said to be as the omatedium. Omatedium is nothing but the eye structure, name of the eye structure or the compound eye seen in the phylum Arthropoda. Clear? Okay. Mouth parts are modified for different feeding habits. Okay, and respiration is being done by tracheae. Spiracles are lateral in nature, and thorax bears 3 pairs of legs and 1 or 2 pairs of wings. Okay, that's all about the characters and classification of the phylum Arthropoda. Now we are going to see about the mouth parts of insects, the most important topic. Mouth parts of insects. There are different types of mouth parts can seen adopted by the animals placed under the phylum Arthropoda. For chewing, for piercing and sucking type, sponging, siphoning type, and chewing and lapping type. Okay, these are all the types of mouth parts. According to their feeding mechanism, the mouth parts will be modified according to the food. Okay, it helps to digest them. Anyhow, they are going to digest the food, and based on the liquid form of food, based on the solid form of food, based on the semi-solid food, the mouth parts will be vary for that for many insects. Okay, for see the most straight away this slide is sufficient for you to answer those questions if they have asked from their mouth parts. Okay, see there are different types, and the first point is chewing type of mouth parts, and the perfect example for this type is grasshopper or the mantis. And the second type is piercing and sucking type. Just imagine the mosquito, how it is going to feed the blood from the human. Okay, mosquito or assassin bug. Sponging type. Sponging type of mouth parts is example housefly. Okay, and siphoning type example flea. Okay, and chewing lapping the best example is honeybee. Okay, these are all the things. Examples very important. If you didn't read the examples, there is no point of reading this type of cards and all. Okay, so example is very important. See, this is what a mouth parts. These are all the structures which is placed under the mouth parts. See, this is called as a labrum. This is a labrum. This pointed structure is said to be as a mandible. This is said to be as a maxilla, and maxilla contains the maxillary pulp. And this is the labium. Labium has the labial pulp. These are all the structures. See, labrum, mandible, maxilla, maxillary pulp, labium, labial pulp. These are all the structures which is present in the mouth parts of an arthropods. Now, what are all the different parts is for? What is the function of this labrum? And the function of all these structures I'm going to discuss below. See, this labrum, a cover which may be loosely referred to as the upper lip. So, labrum to be as what? Upper lip. Okay, this mandibles is meant for cutting, powerful cutting jaws. They act as the jaw area, mainly meant for cutting. And maxillae is said to be pincers. Okay, see they are said to be as the pincers, less powerful than the mandibles. So mandibles is very important than the maxillae. They are used to steady and manipulate the food. They have a 5-segmented pulp that is said to be as a maxillary pulp, which is sensory and often concerned with the taste. So what adds what, which is the main organ going to sense the taste is maxillae. Okay, what is the labium? Labium is said to be as the lower lip. See, this is labium is present in the upper side. This is said to be as the upper lip. This labium is present in lower side, which is said to be as the lower lip. Clear? And they represents the fused by ancestral second maxillae. This labium is said to be as the second maxillae. And they have a 3-segmented pulp, which is also sensory. And this is pulp is nothing but labial pulp. See, labial pulp. Okay. Now, the another most important structure is hypopharynx. This is a tongue-like structure in the floor of the mouth. The salivary glands discharge saliva through it. Because of this characteristic features, where the salivary glands discharge all those saliva, this is said to be a tongue-like structure. And what is the name of the structure? Hypopharynx. This is all about these are all the structures and their functions. Now, biting and chewing type. Again, the best example for biting and chewing type is what? Grasshopper. Okay, see, this is the most primitive type, biting and chewing type, and we know that labrum, mandibles, maxillae, labium, epipharynx, hypopharynx. These are all the structures present in this type, biting and chewing type. And labium is said to be as the upper lip, labium is said to be as the lower lip, and this lower lip is said to be as the second maxillae. Maxillae is said to be as the first maxillae. This we know that. And they have the pair of mandibles, and this act as the jaw, cutting jaw. And this maxillae and the labium, it is for the sensory, to sense the taste. Hypopharynx and epipharynx are said to be a tongue-like structure, okay, where the saliva is going to secrete. And this is the structure. Okay, see, the compound eye is present here, mandibles, hypopharynx, submentum, mentum is there, and labial palp, glossa, paraglossa. These structures are unnecessary. What are all the structures I have mentioned here? Just read that. That is sufficient. Okay. And maxillary palps. Maxillary palps is the thing that is the palp-like structure which is present in the maxillae. And what is their function is to why this maxilla is said to be as a sensory, or it can give to sense the taste means because of the presence of maxillary palps. Very good. Sense part. Yes. Sensory feelers to locate the food. Okay. Now, lacinium. Lacinium is a structure. It is used to grasp the food and cutting or chewing it. Okay. This is the main structure to capture the food. Okay. Fine. And mandibles. Mandibles which have two sets of muscles to masticate the food. As I said, it acts like a jaw. See, mandibles. It is hard and powerful cutting jaws. It act as a teeth. Okay. And lingula is the one which helps the food to move to the area called the pharynx. Okay. And what are all the examples are very, very important. See, the questions can be asked like this. Lepidoptera. See, the order Lepidoptera, the example for the order Lepidoptera is caterpillar. The question can also be asked like this. And what else they can be asked? What is a perfect example for biting and chewing mechanism? So you can say caterpillars. And also you have to know the caterpillars which is placed under the order Lepidoptera. So this is the important thing. And some Hymenoptera and many larval forms. Also their example. See, this will be your questionable area. Silverfish. What is the scientific name for silverfish? Is Lepisma. And you should know lepisma is nothing but the silverfish. Also, this is the perfect example of biting and chewing mechanism. And earwigs, termites, book lice, bird lice, beetles, all are following the biting and chewing methods. And orthopteran, this is where the grasshoppers, cockroaches, crickets have been placed. Okay, orthopteran insects. These are all the order. See what are all the order which is going to which is going to adapt this particular type means Orthoptera. Okay, Orthopterans and Lepidoptera and some Hymenoptera and the caterpillars of Lepidopterans. Okay, and silverfish, earwigs, termites, book lice, and beetles. That's all about the biting and chewing type. Now, piercing and sucking type. The perfect example for silverfish are not, this is an insect. Okay, this is a type of insect. This is not a fish. Yeah. Now, like in the name of starfish, we are saying this as a starfish, but this is placed under the phylum Echinodermata. Yeah. Piercing and sucking type. Okay. See, the perfect example for this piercing and sucking type is what? Mosquito. Mosquito is very, very, very A perfect example for this. Piercing means it has to puncture the skin of the human first. It has to pierce into the skin, and after injecting with the help of a structure called the proboscis, with the help of proboscis, it is going to pierce the skin. After piercing, it is going to suck the blood from the hole which has been made after piercing. Okay, so the perfect example is mosquito. And mouth parts of the which feeds on the fluid. Blood is in which form? Fluid form. And this they are modified into various ways to form a tube. Okay, and through this tube, the saliva will be entered, and along with the saliva, the saliva will be entered, and the blood from the human to the mosquito's mouth will be entered. Okay, now mandibles and maxilla are fine needles. Here, what is going to use? What is their structure involved to pierce the skin means mandibles and maxilla. And the proboscis consist of what? Mandibles and maxillae. And labium. Labium forms the hollow grooved channel which encloses the nails. Okay, and this mandibles and maxilla is covered with what? Labium. And open part of the groove is covered by the labrum. Now, hypopharynx, which is present is when present is hollow and needle-like through which flows the saliva. Okay. And in mosquito, mouth parts consist of a long proboscis or beak, which is composed of a labium forming an elongated, fleshy mid-dorsally grooved tube. This is said to be the mouth parts of an insect. See, we can find the mandible scale, and we can find the labium. This is what we are saying as a proboscis. This is looks like a tube. Clear? It encloses the needle-like styles formed by the modification of mandibles, maxilla, and hypopharynx. So all these modified structure we can send ultimately as a proboscis. And what this proboscis consists of: mandibles, maxillae, labium, labellum, everything. And needle-like labium is fused with epipharynx and forms a long covering to open of the proboscis. One structure is going to helpful to surround to cover the needle-like structure, and one structure will helps to cover the open groove of the proboscis, and that is nothing but the labium. Now, this proboscis bears at its tip two small labellae which are used as a feelers. Feelers means what? To sense the taste, and enables the mosquito to select the appropriate part of its victim to attack. This is the feelers. So this act as a sensory organ. We can say like that. And mouth parts are very developed in the female mosquito because only female will going to cause some of the infection to the man. Okay, so female has very well developed the mouth parts. So have a make a note of it. And in bedbug, labium forms a three-jointed proboscis. In bedbug, labium forms a three-jointed proboscis. Stylets are four in number. Okay, what is it? Stylets are four in number and consisting of two mandibles and two maxillae. Now, corner with blade-like and later with the saw-like tips. What is it? Mandibles are like blade. Mandibles are blade-like, and this maxillae are saw-like tips. By this structure, they are going to chew the food. And labrum is a flap-like structure. This is the one going to cover the proboscis. Labrum is the structure. See, labium or the labrum. This is the labrum. This is the one covering the proboscis. And of the four stylets, the maxillae are doubly grooved on their inner faces, one acting as a food canal for the flow of food and other acting as a salivary canal for the flow of saliva. So what is the structure? Act as a food canal as well as the salivary canal is maxillae. These are all the important points to remember. That's all about the piercing and sucking type. And chewing and lapping type. And the best example for chewing and lapping type is honeybees and bumblebees. Okay, here it consists of a long tongue which is formed from the glossae of the labrum ending in a spoon-shaped labellum or the flavellum. See, Again, the same structures is repeating, but it is modified according to their feeding mechanism. Okay, and gallery of the maxillae form a blade-like structure. Blade-like structure, axe-like structure, saw-like structure, everything will be modified by the maxillae because it is acts like a hard cutting jaws. And as a temporary food channel is formed by the proboscis, xalliae, labial pals are fitted together. Through this, the food channel, the liquid food flows up and assisting by the pumping action of the pharynx. This is are going to helpful in the transfer of food from the mouthparts to the upcoming areas for the process of digestion. Labrum and mandibles act for chewing the food. Okay, and sponging types. The perfect example for sponging type is housefly and the liquid food. See, just remember what I'm saying, just listen. And finally, after finishing this mouth part, the things I'm going to say is what are all the things you have to focus. Just remember that. That is sufficient. Okay, these are all unnecessary points only. Okay, but there is no other way. You have to aware of all these statements. Sponging type, they are example is housefly and they are going to feed on the liquid. They lack the cutting weapons, okay, that chew the food because they are going to feed on the liquefied food. There is no need of the structure which has to present for the chewing of the food. There is no need for that. Okay, so the mandibles are completely absent because there is no need for chewing mechanism. While the maxillae are represented only by the maxillary pals, each made of the single piece. See, maxillae is very, very important so that it can act as a hard cutting jaw. Mandibles is going to assist for the maxillae. As this sponging type animal, they are going to feed on the liquefied food. There is no need of these well-developed mandibles and maxillae. Okay, so obviously this is absent or primitively developed. Labium is greatly modified into form the so-called proboscis. So what is the name of the structure which is going to modify it to proboscis? That is nothing but the labium. And this proboscis is divided into three different structures. Okay, and that is rostrum, hastellum, labellum. And it is proximal, that is near to the proboscis, and this is the middle structure, and this is a distantly located structure that is called as the labellum. And rostrum, this is the one consists of the maxillary pulps, and hastellum is the one consisting of the theca through which the food can be passed. Mid dorsal groove serving as a food passage and ventral heart shaped plate. Okay, that is said to be as a theca. And distal labellum consisting of the two expanded lobes that is called as the labellae, which is made for numerous incomplete cylindrical tubes called the pseudotrophiae. All converging in the center into the mouth aperture, which leads into the food groove. Okay, these are all the structure. Once it has been entered the proximal cone-like rostrum, it has to enter into the hastellum, and from the hastellum, it has to enter into the labellum, and from the distal labellum, it has to enter into the labellum structure. So, for passing these these structures have been arranged like that. Labellum is used to lick the food by its contractile activity. Okay, it is used to lick the food. This is what about sponging type. Siphoning type, and the best example for siphoning type is butterflies and moths. This can be asked in a question. They are going to feed on nectar like the bees, but in the mouth parts, the maxillae form the main proboscis, not the labium. See the difference between sponging type and siphoning type. The proboscis will be modified by the labium in case of sponging type. But in case of siphoning type, this proboscis has been modified by the maxillae. Okay. Now, this mandibles and the labium are much reduced because of its lack of its importance. The maxillary pulse is rudimentary and labium forms the triangular plate bearing the labial pulse. Galliae are much elongated and coiled, each forming a half tube, which makes the complete tube when both are locked together. Okay, see, When not in use, the proboscis is coiled into the position beneath the head. See, when it is not in use, when the animal or the insect which is not undergo any feeding mechanism, the proboscis which is lies under the head. When the insect wants to feed, if it needs to fill their stomach, it becomes uncoiled to reach the nut tree. Okay, this is what the structure is, and it rises in blood pressure, which uncoils the proboscis. So this is what the mouth parts of the insect. Just take down what are all the things I'm going to say you once again. See, you have to focus on the important parts in all the mouth types. So this topic is important and examples is important. Okay, and this important structure, important what is their characteristic features and what is their function, what is their actually meant for, that is important here. Now again, but in biting and chewing type, the perfect example is orthopteric. Example is very important. Whether you're going to read this or not, that is not an important thing. You have to read the examples. Examples are very important than the characteristic features here. And piercing and sucking type, the perfect example is mosquito. Okay, and chewing and lapping type, honeybees and the bumblebees. And once again, in case of chewing and biting and chewing type, the example is, after reading the example, you have to read biting and chewing. The chewing type means what is their food. Definitely, that will be the solid food. Okay, then only biting is necessary, chewing is necessary. Piercing and sucking type is, the perfect example for this type is mosquito. And what is their food? They are going to feed on fluids. And chewing and lapping type. The example is honey and the bumblebees. What is their food type? What is their type of food? The food type is liquid again. Sponging type is housefly, and the most important is proboscis. Here the labium is modified into the so-called proboscis, and in siphoning type, the example is butterflies and moths. And what is their type of the food? That is whether it is a solid or liquid or semi-solid. And here the proboscis will be modified by the maxillae. Okay, that is all about the mouth parts of the insects. Now, injurious insects. Up to this, if you have any doubts, please you can ask me now. Any doubts, or shall we move on to the next topic? Just tell me. Okay. Everybody clear? Again, briefly explain. Huh? Okay. See, in case of siphoning type, you have to read what is, this is one of the type of mouth part. Okay. And second thing you have to read is example, butterflies and moths, or the perfect example for the siphoning type. Why it is following the siphoning type? Because of their food. Okay. What is they are going to feed? They are going to feed on the nectar, like the bees. Okay. It is in the semi-solid. We can take as a semi-solid. That is not actually a liquid. That is not actually a solid. It is a semi-solid in nature. It is sticky in nature. Okay. For that, what are all the characteristics are they are needing or they are in need? They are mainly proboscis. Okay. And maxillae. Maxillae is the one going to form the proboscis. Why not the labium? Because labium and mandibles are very much reduced. Okay, see this maxillary pulse, as the maxilla is present, maxillary pulse definitely they are going to there has to be presence of maxillary pulse, but it is rudimentary in nature. That is not very much developed. And labium forms a triangular plate and form the labial pulse. In case of maxillae, there is a presence of maxillary pulse, and in case of labium, it has a labial pulp. And because of these pulp only, we can the animal or the insect butterfly will taste the food to sense the food. Okay, these structures have been there. This is the most important thing. And once again, the important point when it comes to proboscis, when they are in need, when the butterfly feels it's hungry, only then the proboscis will come out from the head. Okay, until then the proboscis will be present only beneath the head. Okay, and when it wants to feed, the proboscis want to come out. For that, it has to become uncoiled. Initially, it was coiled when there is in no need, and when they are in need, when they wants to feed, becomes uncoiled. When they become uncoiled, the blood pressure will be rising. This is what about siphoning type. Clear? And now sponging type. And this is also another type of mouth parts followed by the insects or adopted by the insects. And when it comes to the sponging type, the example is housefly. And what is they are going to feed? They are going to feed on the liquefied food. As it is feed on the liquefied, there is no need to chew or bite the food. So there is important cutting weapons are absent here. What is their cutting weapons actually? Maxillae and mandibles are act as a cutting weapons. They mandibles are altogether absent because there is no need of these structure to develop. Okay, because they are going to feed on which food? Liquid food. So the maxillae are absent, but maxillary pulse is present. Okay, the structure maxillae is represented by the maxillary palps. Okay, only then it can taste the food. Now, labium, it is greatly modified into the proboscis, and that proboscis will be divided into three different structure. That is nothing but the rostrum. Rostrum the maxillary bulb will be present only in this rostrum. And hastellum. Hastellum has a theca through which the food can be passed from the rostrum to the labellum. And another third structure is labellum. It has a labellae in it and it has a pseudotracheae, and all converging into the central mouth aperture, which leads into the food groove, which means what? The food has to pass all these structure. Ultimately, it has to reach the food groove. For that, these structures will be modified. And the labellum, what is the main functions of this labellum is to lick the food by its contractile activity. This is what about sponging type. And next, chewing and lapping type. This is also another mouth parts modified by the adopted by the insects. And the best example for this chewing and lapping type is honeybee. Honeybees and bumblebees. This will be their example. And to that, it has a long tongue. Long tongue from the glossae of labrum ending in a spoon-shaped labellum and the flabellum. See the structure. This is said to be as the labellum. Okay, now galleae of maxillae form blade-like structures. We know that maxillae is meant for cutting. Okay, a hard cutting. And why it is saying maxillae is meant for cutting means because of the structure called galleae. Only then the maxillae can act as a blade. Okay, it is used to cut the food. Now the maxillary palps are very small here. Okay, now as the temporary food channel is formed by the proboscis, galleae and labial palps fitting together. Okay, this is the temporary food channel. Means what? Temporarily the food can be stored here. And through this food channel, the liquid flows up, assisted by the pumping action of the pharynx. Temporarily, the food has been kept in these structures, and after certain time, this liquid food will be flows to the next important next structure by the pumping action of the pharynx. So the pharynx is the one helps the food to move from these structures to the labrum. Clear? And the labrum and the mandibles are going to chew the food. Who is going to chew the food? This labrum and the mandibles. When it comes to chewing and the lapping type. And what about this mosquito? Piercing and the sucking type is the another important mouth parts adopted by which insect means mosquito. It has to puncture the food. It has to puncture the host, that is piercing, and it has to suck back the blood from the human to the body of the mosquito. So they are going to feed on the fluids. For that, has to make a tube, and that tube will be done by the proboscis. Okay, here the mandibles and maxillae are very well developed. They are going to pierce the skin. Labium, it is going to form the channel from which the blood can be fluid back to the mosquito body. And open part of the groove is covered by the labrium. And hypopharynx, which is again a tongue-like structure, which is present is when present is hollow and needle-like through which the blood. It acts like a tongue, right? Through which the saliva can be seen. When I explain the protozoan diseases, I have explained you. Consider this as the okay. Wait a minute. Consider this as a mosquito. It has to feed on the. It has to feed on the host. Okay. See, this is the proboscis through which it has to puncture the pierce the skin. Okay. From that. To prevent the coagulation of the blood. See, when the blood flow within the body of the human, it is anticoagulating agent. It is present in the saliva, and that saliva will be secreted by the structure called the hypopharynx. See, once again, I'm going to explain orderly. Wait, see, this is the human body. The blood has to come out. Okay, inside the human body, there is no problem. The blood will not tend to coagulate because the anticoagulating agent will be present inside the body. That is called as heparin. But when it contacts into the air, the blood will coagulate. Okay, to prevent this coagulation, the anticoagulating agent which is present in the saliva, see, which is present in the saliva, it has sent to the human body. When it mixes with the saliva, the blood will not coagulate. Okay, and that saliva will be secreted by the hypopharynx. Clear? Fine. Now, these are all the another important structures. You can read it. Biting and chewing type, you know that the best example for this biting and chewing type is grasshopper. Okay, and this labra mandibles, again the same story will be repeating here. Clear? Shanti Karunya, are you clear? Good. Okay. Don't hesitate to ask any type of doubts. Okay, I'm here to explain all those things. Okay. Now we have completed this mouth parts of insects. Now we are going to read this useful and harmful insects. Now, what is about injurious insects? These are all the pest. What are injurious insects means what? These type of insects going to cause some of the wounds or injury to the host or the humans or whatever it is. It may be plants, whatever it is, wherever it is going to feed on such host or such plants or such humans, they are going to cause some of the infections. Okay. So these are all the pests for the plants, fruits, and stored grains. Cabbage worm hoppers. They are chew and follow the external parts of the plants. This is their feed for those worms. This is the food for those worms, but it is a drawback for the plants. Okay, what is that? Cabbage worm and the hoppers. Potato beetles, plant bugs, aphids, scale insect. They are going to infect the plant tissues. Bark beetles, they are going to destroy the timber. Termites, they are going to damage the timber after it leaves the forest. Okay, now ball weevils, they are going to spoil the cotton. See, they can be asked in the match the following question or whatever it is. In case of bark beetles, what is the target plant? Timber. In case of ball weevils, what is the target plant? Cotton. In case of caterpillar and Japanese beetles, they strip the foliage from the millions of shady trees every year. They are going to destroy many trees. And grasshoppers and locals, we know that they are going to invade these green crops. These are all the pests for the plants, fruits, and stored grains. Household pests. What are all the pests which are going to see in the household area? Bed bugs, mosquitoes, stable fly are so much because by the time of 6 o'clock in the evening, the invasion of mosquito will be there. Okay, everybody will tend to beat the mosquito and all the violence will be happening after 6 p.m. So much annoying. That is why they are said to be as annoying insects. And ants, crickets, cockroaches, beetles, fruit flies, silverfish, they are going to spoil the food. Okay, so we have to close the food with the help of lid. Okay, we should not open the food when we eat. This is the basic manners also. When we eat food, we have to take the food. After taking the enough food to the plate, we have to close the lid. Okay, and if you forget to close the food, the mosquito will lays all the eggs. Okay, in those food, and by the afternoon we are going to eat the same food again. Okay, don't do that. Okay, and again, house flies. House flies will lay all the fecal matter. Okay, these are all they are going to. We know that housefly which is with the during the source is open defecation. When the children defecate openly, houseflies will go into and the houseflies will sit there. And by the time if you forget to close the lid, means the same housefly will going to by with the help those carry their fecal matter in their not only fecal matter, whatever the contaminated food or whatever it is, the same the legs which has the leg which has those contaminated things, and the same thing will be again touches the food. So avoid those things. Cloth moths and carpet beetles, they are going to damage the carpets. Even carpets, these insects are very damaging those carpets, furs, and the feathers. Okay, and injurious to domestic animals. Fleas, lice, bugs, mosquitoes as their external parasite. Bird lice, they are malophagia, which means what? They are going to feed upon feathers of the chicken. Bird lice, malophagia. Okay, these are all the important technical terms. Just remember that. Horn fly, they are blood-sucking insect, which is a serious pest of the cattle. And ox warble fly, cut holes in the skin of cattle, cause damage to hide in the flesh. And these are all the insects which is going to carry the disease. This is your duty to remember all those things. See, the most important thing where the question can be frequently asked from these tables. Okay, see, mosquito anopheles. Anopheles mosquito, they are going to cause malaria. And of course, we know that and plasmodium Plasmodium virus. Both are that is why in the first class I have said virus will be the cassette organism. Okay, protozoan virus. Now, mosquito, Aedes aegypti, yellow fever, man. Which are area? Bankruptcy. We know that this comes under the category or phylum nematode. Which are area? Brown cavity. It is not only going to cause yellow fever, but also what? Filariasis. Also, this mosquitoculous mosquito, it is also filariasis, and the man is their host. And what is their causative organism? Trypanosoma gametes. See, in the first class, when I explained the protozoan diseases, just only I'm remembering, right? See, in the first class, one of you has asked the question how virus will act as a causative agent for the mosquito. See, causative agent for the mosquito, sorry, malaria. See, virus, malaria act as the virus is their pathogen or the protozoan, plasmodium. So both can be act as a causative agent or the pathogen. See, mosquito is their intermediate host and man will be their primary host. Clear? So these the things you have to remember. Plasmodium and virus. So don't forget to remember this. Again, where we have stopped. This Culus mosquito, filariasis, man will be their host, and Trypanosoma gambians is again a protozoa. Testis fly, Glossina alcalis. Testis fly is a common name, Glossina palpalis, we have studied once again in the um, which protozoan disease? African sleeping sickness. Okay, tsetse fly, the trypanosoma cruzi, and man is the host. Bug, triatoma, chagas, children, they are caused by the trypanosoma brucei. Once again, it is a protozoan. And again, the protozoan trypanosoma brucei, it is going to cause a disease, Nagana. And again, the tsetse fly, it will be there, insect vector, but different species. African sleeping sickness, again a Glossina genus, but the palpalis is the species. Nagana is the morsitans, is the species of Glossina genus. So you have to see all those important differences. Trypanosoma evansii. See, again, will be the protozoan. See, causative variant, plasmodium, Bicheraria, Bancrofty, memorizing all those things is not that much a big thing. It is not a big deal, okay? But remembering whether it is a protozoan, whether it is a nematode, whether it is a protozoan virus, bacteria, that will be a challenging point here. So remember all those things. Leishmania donovani, they are going to cause a disease called Kala Azar. And what is the vector? Sandfly phlebotomus, and host will be the man. And Pasteurella pestis, this is going to cause a disease called the bubonic plague. And host will be the rats and man. And what will be the vector? Flea. And the technical name or the scientific name is Xenophila. Okay, these are all the things are important. Rickettsia and the host is man. Again, they are going to cause a disease called the typhus fever. And pediculus is the vector through which the pathogen can reach the host, that is man. Now, Vibrio cholerae. Vibrio cholerae is what? Bacteria. And this cholerae and Giardia intestinalis, Vibrio cholerae is going to cause the cholera. And what is the vector is? Housefly. Musca domestica is the scientific name of the housefly. Okay, just remember, housefly is a common name and Musca domestica is the scientific name. They are going to cause a cholera as well as diarrhea. Why diarrhea is happening? Just now I have explained now what is the mechanism of housefly is doing with the food and the fecal matter. That is the only reason for the diarrhea as well as the cholera. Here, okay. Vibrio cholerae is a bacteria and Giardia intestinalis is the protozoan. Now, relapsing fever, the insect vector is bedbug or the body. Relapse, the host is the perfect pathogen is not up to now, it is not discovered. And what are all the poisonous insects? Honeybees, wasps, hornets, fire ants, bedbugs, mosquitoes, and few lepidopterans and other larvae. All the insects also has poisonous in nature. And up to this, we have seen the insects which are harmful to the human beings or plants and whatever the creatures. And now we are going to see what is the productive insects which are going to help in our economy as well as in health. Okay. See, in productive insects, honey is giving the honeybees, beeswax giving the honeybees, and raw silk, it is going to give us a silkworm. Lac insects gives the lac, and dyes known as tannin, cochineal, and crimson lake are derived from the dried bodies of certain scale insects living on the cacti. And medicinal products, cantharidin is a medicinal product derived from the blister beetles. So it is going to give many economical important products. And what are the most important? See, when it comes to the pollination, the first and foremost useful thing done by the insect is pollination. Do you know what is pollination? Just tell me if anybody know what is pollination means. What is pollination? To know pollination, there is no need to study botany. Okay, this is the basic thing. Yes, transfer of pollen grains from the anther, that is male anther of a flower, to the stigma of the female flower. Okay, see, to transfer, how this will be happening. The major mode of transferring these pollen grains from the male anther to the female stigma is insects. The insect, when it's, just imagine the honeybee. They need to store the honeys, and where the honey will be located exactly the plants. From the plant, if the honeybee want to just consider that as a male flower. Okay, every flower has a pollen grains within it. It has to reach the female stigma, so that the fertilization will be happening, the cross pollination will be happen. See, consider this as a male flower. Okay, now any insects will come here and take the nectar. While taking the nectar, the pollen grains which is present in the male flower will be carried in their leg. When it again they are going to reach the another plant to get the nectar, whatever the pollen grains carried by the insects in their leg will be dropped in that particular plant, and the pollination will be happening. That is what cross fertilization or cross pollination. Okay, for that insects plays a major role. Okay, and the chief pollinating insects are bees, wasps, beetles, ants, and flies. Clear everyone with respect to this pollination. Now next is scavengers, and they are going to scavenge. See, in case of unexpected death of any animals in the forest area, how we humans cannot tend to clean all those dead bodies wherever. Just imagine the Amazon forest, or which is present in the Brazil, and not only Amazon forest, whatever be the forest, and not only forest. Just imagine our area. Okay, in case any dead bodies like crow will be dead, in case any crow will be dead, any snake, frog, if anything will die, immediately the human, the duty of the, that is not the duty of human to eradicate those dead bodies. It is the duty, it is not the duty, it is the food for the scavengers, mainly what, eagle. Okay, they can be the eagle, like those the small insects can also feed on those dead bodies immediately. The most important scavengers in our is ecosystem is insects. They are going to feed on the waste materials such as dead bodies, debris of plants and animals, with preventing decay and obnoxious odors. So when with respect to this dead bodies, immediately they are giving to some of the bad smell. That is the odor. Odor is nothing but the smell. Okay, obnoxious are to the by preventing all those orders and preventing the decay. Everything will be done only by the insects. And the insect scavengers or the silverfish, that is lepisma, termites, housefly, blowfly, maggots, dung beetles, carrion beetles, fleas, cockroaches, and many larval forms. They are act as a scavengers. Clear? Now, insects as the food. Insects provides an abundant food supply for those animals like frogs, lizards, snakes, fishes. We can see a funny thing when it comes to the lizards. By the time of night, during in the tube light, near the tube light, the insect will go. No, not only an insect, one whatever it is, what is that? Yeah, consider any insect. The lizard will keep on waiting for the insect to come near to it. Okay, when it comes to when the insects came near the lizard, just imagine that scenario. The same thing will be happening here. So the insects will also act as a food for those amphibians, reptiles, fishes, and everything. Bluebirds, meadow larks, house sparrows depends chiefly on the insects. Moles, shrews, armadillos, anteaters live wholly upon the small insects. For some creatures like the anteaters, their only source of food is insects. Okay, so some of the insects will also be helpful in medicine. This cochineal insects contain carminic acid, corgerin, myristin, fatty acid. These are all used in the treatment of neuralgia, whooping cough. The contents the chemicals which is present in the insects, they are going to used for the humans to synthesize the medicinal products. Blowfly larvae used in treating the decaying of the tissues. What is a larval form? Blowfly larvae. Cantharidian oil, it is made from the blister beetles and is served as a hair restorer. And the body extract of the cocoon from the silk moth. This is what we are going to deal with the sericulture. Okay. And Bombyx mari is one of the silk moth. It is used to checking profuse menstruation and in treating leukorrhea and chronic diarrhea. And bee venom has been used in the some degree of success in treatment of forms of arthritis. Also in preparation of the antivenom to counteract the snake bite. So to counteract the snake bite, some of also antivenom also seen in the bee. In the honey, there are also some of the anti-venom properties to counteract the snake bite. So honey has some of the economical importance. Now, honey is also a natural antiseptic which prevents if infection is applied to the wound. Also to cure ulcers, beeswax, it is used as a base for ointment. Okay, this is what about the insects in the role of medicine. Now, biological control. See, imagine we are doing an agriculture in 1 acre land. Okay, we are doing agriculture. We are facing pest disease. We are facing some of the insects problem. The insects will destroy all the crops we have we have cultivated. So what we are going to do is we are going to use some of the fertilizers. And if the fertilizer will be there, there is a herbicide will be there, and there is a pesticide will be there. Okay, and whatever it is, we are going to use a fertilizer. Just imagine you are not going to wish those fertilizers, and fertilizers will destroy the quality of the crop. So considering this point, you are avoiding using of fertilizer. But anyhow, the pest will destroy all the crops we have cultivated. So you are thinking we have to control this pest, but without affecting the quality of the crop, so that we are using the biological control. Always biological control will be, there is no side effects in this biological control. What we are doing this, we are introducing some of the insects to feed on those insects which is going to which is destroying the crops. So just imagine this is the plant we are cultivating. Just imagine, just tolerate with the diagram. Okay, just this is the plant. Okay, this is the plant. We are finding an insect. This we are finding one of the insect will bite here and destroying all the crops we have cultivated. Now we are introducing another insects. We are introducing another insect which is going to feed these insects and which is not going to feed this plant. Okay, if we introduce this insect to destroy this pest which is destroying our plant, and then we have to select this particular insect which is going to feed this only this insect, not our crop. Okay, like that we are selectively introducing the insect. Okay, that is about the biological control. Clear? And insects exercise biological control over other harmful species. Insects will attack and eat upon other insects, which is called as a predator. And this is the plant we are cultivating, and this is the insect. And this is for this insect, our introducible insects will be the predator, and this will be the prey. Clear? Now, many harmful plant-eating insects are devoured by the host of predaceous insects such as ground beetles, scyphid flies, and wasps. And aphids and the scale insects, which are pests for citrus, see, aphids and the scale insects, which are act as the pest for the citrus fruits and as well as the other trees. See, now this aphids and insects are spoiling these citrus fruits and other trees. These aphids and scale insects are eaten by the larva of the ladybird beetles. Now this will be destroyed. Now these trees can be grows freely without any insects disturbances. Clear? Now predaceous insects. which means what? These ladybird beetles act as a predator for this aphids and the scale insects. This is what happening here. Predaceous insects are even reared or imported and liberated in orchards to control the scale insects. And predatory tiger beetles and nocturnal carnivorous ground beetles are also considered beneficial as they destroy serious insect pests such as snails and the slates and the slugs. Larvae of parasitic insects which attack the larva of the plant feeding insect, which is called as the parasitites. Which means what? So you have to make sure you know the meaning of predaceous as well as the parasitoids. See, larva of parasitic insects which attack the larva of plant feeding insects. Plant feeding insects means what? The insects which is going to eat this plant and they act as a parasitoids in nature. This is what about the biological control. And when it comes to the insects in the fine art, some of the insects which produces the noises, okay, produces noises. We should not take that as a noise, just we can take that as a sound. For somebody that sound will be considered as a music. For somebody they will consider as a noises. Imagine you're sleeping. Now, the mosquito or a housefly will keep on surrounding your face by making some of the sound. Okay. During some time, when you are in the good mood, that will be considered as a good music to you. But during you are sleeping, those mosquito, we consider that mosquito as a big enemy because of the noise they are providing. That is what. And so we consider this is as a fine arts. We consider that sound as a music. Okay. In Japan, cicadas and the crickets are placed in a small cages like birds in the houses. See, because of the noises they are producing, they are placed in some of the cages. Okay, like birds in their houses, they are keeping insects in the cages. Just imagine how the Japanese brain will thinking. Japanese celebrate an annual function, the festival of singing insects. Beautifully colored elytra and wings of some Coleoptera and Lepidoptera are used in jewelry and pictures in crafts and embroidery, pottery, baskets, medals, all these things. So, insects will also be helpful in some of the fine arts. Okay, and what are all the things you have to remember is you have to know some of the names like this tiger beetles and ground beetles act as a danger or act as a predator for the snails and the slugs and the predaceous insects to control the snails in not a point a scale insect are going to eaten by the ladybird beetles. Was just aware of some of the names. Okay, and what are all the insect name I have mentioned here? Just aware of those names. But whatever it is, you have to read these two tables. These two tables are more than anything. Okay, fine. Any doubts? Or shall we move on to the next? Shall we discuss the questions or where is it now? Cards. Any doubts? Just tell me fast. Hello, are you there? Shanti Karanya, do you have any doubt? Means just chat in the chat box. Okay, shall we move on to the next one? Okay, if you have any doubt means just chat in the chat box. Okay, don't unmute yourself. Okay, fine. Okay, we move on to the next topic, metamorphosis. So now we have completed. Where is it? The purpose of showing syllabus is you have to know each and every word which is mentioned in the syllabus. We have completed mouth parts and useful and harmful intents. Now we move on to the metamorphosis in insects. Okay, for 10 minutes we'll deal with the metamorphosis in insects. What is meant by metamorphosis? Any idea? I have explained you multiple times. What is metamorphosis? Just tell me what are all the things you know about metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis? Okay, let me explain. See, initially, every creature will be in the form of egg, right? See, initially it is in an egg form, and after the egg, the newly hatched nymph. Nymph is a larval stage. Consider that as a larval stage. Egg, and after the egg will be hatching, we can call them as a nymph, and this will be the early nymph, and after that a large later nymph, and from the later nymph the adult will be formed. So the stages or the structures they are adopting or they are gaining one after each stages. From the egg it gains some of the structures, we can call them as a small nymph or newly formed nymph, and after gaining some of the structures, morphological changes they are undergoing, and they are gaining some of grow in their size, we can call them as a later nymph. And from the later nymph they are going to gain some of the structures and grow in their size, and we can call them as an adult. Okay, so from the egg or from the larval stages converting into one adult. Okay, what are all the stages they are undergoing? These life stages, it is going to be as a metamorphosis. Clear? Hope you are clear. See, the transformation of an immature larval individual to a sexually mature reproducing adult of very different form, structure, habitat is called as a metamorphosis. What this statement actually refers to is, see, transformation of immature larval individual. See, immature larval individual is nothing but the nymph. Okay, nymph is the immature larval individual. Now they are not sexually active because there is no well development of reproductive organ is there. Okay, from the immature larval individual, they are going to gives rise to an adult, which is sexually mature, where the reproductive organ is very well developed. Now they are very ready to mate. Okay, the immature from the immature larval stages to the sexually mature adult form. Okay, now another thing. The first one is reproduction, sexually matured, immature. Now the second thing is the newly limp or the larval stages, they prefer to live in different form. Just imagine when I dealt with the larval stages of Teniasolium, that is Miracidium, Sporocyst, Cercaria, larval stage. See, the Miracidium will be, the leg will be hatched out in the water. In the water, the Miracidium will be formed. Now, this Miracidium will be entering to the body of the pig. There, the Miracidium will be converted into the Sporocyst. The Sporocyst will not form when they are in the water. The Miracidium will wait to reach the pig, and after it enter into the pig, they prefers to in a different environment where the sporocyst will be present. From the sporocyst the cercaria will be present. Okay, the cercaria will now released into the water. So the larval stages and the adult stages, they prefer to live in different habitat. That is what they are explaining, different form and habitat. And larval stages are very smaller in size, and adult or the larger in size. Now come back to again read the definition. Now you will be very clear. Transformation of immature larval individual into a sexually mature reproducing adult of different form, structure, habitat. This is said to be as the metamorphosis process. Okay, as we are going to deal this metamorphosis tomorrow clearly, but let me explain you a glimpse. Okay, there are four different types of metamorphosis. And what is that? No metamorphosis or ametabolous development, incomplete metamorphosis or hemimetabolous development, gradual metamorphosis or pyrometabolous development, and complete metamorphosis, holometabolous development. See, what are all the things you have to focus on this particular metamorphosis in arthropoda is what are all the types. First thing, what is the definition of metamorphosis, and the second thing, what are all the types, and the types have another names. For example, no metamorphosis means ametabolous, incomplete means hemimetabolous, like that. You have to aware of all those names. And the third most important point is example. Don't forget to read the example. And the fourth things you have to focus on is what is there in the no metamorphosis or ametabolous means. See, here newly hatched creature looks like an adult except in size and differences in armature of spines and CT. What is there? They are suggesting is, see, the nymph and the adult, the larval stage of the nymph and the adult form of the organism or an animal looking the same, looking same structure, just it is smaller in size, it is larger in size. That is said to be as a no metamorphosis or the ametabolous development. Okay, see, just their structure, newly hatched creature looks like an adult. See, this nymph will exactly looks like an adult except in size. This is smaller, this is larger. Except in size, these nymph will be exactly looking like an adult. This is what it is, no metamorphosis or ametabolous development. See, the example is silverfish and the springtails. Lepisma is nothing but a silverfish. Okay, now incomplete metamorphosis or ametabolous development means here the egg, nymph and the adult. See, the egg will be there, nymph will be there, and the nymph will be developed into an adult form with some of the differences. Immature stages are the nymphs or naiads, which are aquatic, respire by tracheal gills, where the adult, they are terrestrial. See, in case of nymphs, it prefers to live in aquatic habitat. But in case of adults, they prefer to live in the terrestrial or aerial habitat. This is respire by tracheal gills and this is respire by the tracheae. This is said to be as the incomplete metamorphosis or hemimetabolous development. The incomplete metamorphosis, this can be asked in your question, occurs in three stages. What is the life stages? Egg, nymph, and the adult. Okay, what stage is not seen here? Pupa stage is not seen in the metamorphosis type of metabolous development. That is why it is said to be as the incomplete metamorphosis or the hemimetabolous development. Why? Because the pupa stage is not seen here. The example for this development is mayflies, dragonflies, and the stoneflies. Clear? Now, next. Gradual metamorphosis or pyrometabolous development. See, what is pyrometabolous development? See, initially it was in the nymph, egg, and egg will be developed into young nymph. And young nymph will gain in some of its structure and it develops into a later nymph. And the later nymph will be developed into an adult. So, the newly hatched creature resembles an adult in their general body form but lack wings and external genital appendages, the structure which is present. Of course, this is a young nymph, this is an adult. The size is smaller, but some of the structure which is present in the adult will be absent in this young nymph. This is said to be a gradual metamorphosis or pyrometabolous development. This young or the nymph undergoes several nymph stages through successive moltings to become an adult. So molting is an important process seen in the phylum Arthropoda. Just take a note of it. This can be asked in a question. What is happening here? This young nymph directly not gives rise to an adult. See, what is happening here? Of course, the size is the only difference. But after this young nymph, this is developed into the later nymph. From the later nymph only, this will undergo an adult. this young nymph does not directly gives rise to an adult. Why? Because molting is happening here. What is molting? Some of their body parts will be gaining, or some of the body parts will be lost. That is said to be as the molting. The exact meaning of molting is shredding of their parts. What is it? Shredding of their parts. Okay. This is what about metabolous development and gradual metabolism. And what is the best example? Grasshoppers, aphids, stings, and the bug. Okay. Now, complete metamorphosis. 4 developmental stages, that is egg, larva, pupa, adult. 4 types of all the stages of life cycle will be seen only in this type of development. That is why it is said to be a complete metamorphosis process or holometabolous development. Holo means, the word holo means complete. Okay, and from the egg, from the larva to the adult, molted several times, which means what? The body parts will be gained or lost, a lot number of differences or changes will be happening through the process of molting. How many times they are undergoing molting? Several times to become a fully grown one. Example, initially it was in a egg. See, larval stages of butterfly is caterpillar. See, there is no difference from the there is no difference can be seen when it comes to the caterpillar and adult butterfly. But how it is happening? The caterpillar initially it is crawling on the ground, but later it is flying. How this is happening means the process of molting. So the process of molting means you have to remember the phylum Arthropoda. Here, it later becomes a pupa. From the larva, it becomes the pupa. See, the larval stage is said to be as a caterpillar, and the pupa stage, it is said to be as a chrysalis. Here, chrysalis. See, now it becomes a pupa within a secreted case called the puparium. The chrysa. See, the caterpillar, they wrap themselves inside the sac, inside the case. That is called the puparium, and the animal will grow inside the shell or the case. And later, during the favorable condition, the pupa will differentiate into the young adult. This break the case, which is called the puparium, and emerges outside. It grows into the mature form. Only then we can get the butterfly. The best example for this is housefly, mosquito, and butterfly. That's all about the metamorphosis. If you have any doubt means you can ask me, or if you want to explain me again means I'll explain. How, just tell me. Aruna, Jyoti, Lalita, Shanti, Karuni, any doubt means you can ask me now. Okay, clear. What about the others? Okay, if you have any no doubt means you can leave the class. And tomorrow, Arthropoda test. Okay, after completing the syllabus, we are going to conduct the test. And we have completed this metamorphosis. The only leftover is apiculture, sericulture, and crustacean larva. We are going to finish by tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow, same time. Okay, please be on time. Okay, thank you. You can leave the class now.